So in this idea of being this vehicle that is for the good of everyone at the expense of no one, and uplifting and nurturing all life, and living in the repeatlessness here now moment where everything is fresh and new and emerging, there's something that's in our psychology that resists that. There's several things, but there's one in particular that I'd like to address tonight, and it's the concept of fixedness. Fixedness. F-I-X-E-D-N-E-S-S. It's a state of being fixed. Cemented, solid, unwavering, unchanging. And it's a psychological phenomena. It's kind of like if I hold up a hammer, 99.999% of you are going to think of it as a device to hit nails. But would you think of it as a pendulum in a clock? It'd make a perfectly good pendulum in a clock. But that's not what we think of when we see a hammer. We think of it as this thing that hits nails. To that point, we have fixedness. That's what is hammerness. That's what that shape means. Now, as far as consciousness concerns, I share in my book, but I'll share it live here tonight, a story from Ram Dass and his own awareness of fixedness that occurred and how it finds its way into our lives. And that this was in the late 60s, early 70s, when he had been, already Be Here Now was already out, and he'd be like this kind of, spiritual leader, but a really, kind of non-committal one. He would just bring you to the smorgasbord and say, hey, eat and find which one you like. They all take it to the same, we're all around the same mountain looking up at the same path. We just have different journeys up that mountain. So find your journey. What is it? And he was just really good at that. And because he was just so equanimous in that way, he was always asked to lead this meeting that took place in San Francisco, Monday night classes. And they would meet together in a church on Monday night. And it'd be all the hippies with their flowers and their beads and their flowing clothes and their, just like the whole hippie movie, that we all know. And they'd all gather into the church and they would share kind of like the Junior Explorers Club in consciousness. Hey, this is what I learned, and this is what I learned, and I did this acid trip. I spent 3 months in a cave, whatever. And he was asked to, lead this meeting. And so one Monday night, all the hippies are flowing in and they're doing their thing and they're all la la la. And then this little old lady in her late 70s comes walking in her finest Sunday garb. And she has her little, pantsuit on and then, patent leather shoes, patent leather purse, and complete with a hat with little frillies and fruit on top. And she comes in and she sits down with her little white gloves and she sits right in front. And Ram Dass is like, what the heck, what's this all about? So they start the evening and he starts talking about consciousness and he starts talking about all these different dimensions, and the entire time she's sitting there nodding in agreement. And Ram Dass is like, how could she understand this? Where did she get this knowledge? And so he decides he's going to take it even that much further out there, and it's to the corners and the edges of his own consciousness. And the whole time she's just sitting there nodding. And to this end, he had fixedness. It's like, how could she be agreeing with me, saying, oh, yes, 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 yes? I mean, she hasn't done the gallons of LSD. She doesn't have a guru. She didn't write a book on consciousness. This whole thing. And so he goes through the night, and the whole thing continues to happen. By the end, he wants the motion for her to come up. But before he can even do that, she runs up to the stage. And she goes, oh, that was absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed that so much. I agree with everything you said. And Ram Dass looks at her and he says, how do you do it? How do you achieve that level of awareness? She kind of leans back and looks to the left and looks to the right and leans in conspiratorially and she says, I crochet. It's a true story. And that's when he got it, that any cognitive centering device, any activity that brings you to one-pointedness can take you into the other realms and other ways of experiencing and understanding this world. Now, to this end, we all have fixedness. We have fixedness on ex-boyfriends and girlfriends. We've got fixedness on employers. We have fixedness on Monsanto. We have fixedness on the legislative process. We have fixedness on government. We have fixedness on the environment. We have fixedness on the Russians, on the Iraqis, on the whatever. but it's your fixedness. Now, I could tell you for hours about how it was put in there and how you were made to feel socially accepted if you agreed with them. That's a whole nother lecture. You can find those online. It's called The Mechanics of Mind Control. You can watch those. And Repeatlessness at YouTube. Kind of a commercial, but it's good material. So I don't charge for it. It's free. So how do we break that fixedness? You know? How do we break that fixedness on everything? Because when you die, you got to let go of it all. So why not let go of it now and be free of it and see what happens?